श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. In the previous chapter, 13, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga chapter, Krishna says, Kshetrajnam Mam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu He Bharata. O Arjuna, I am the indwelling Kshetrajnaha in all the bodies. And who is the Kshetrajnaha? Is none other than the Purushaha. So later on, Krishna says that principle of Chaitanyam, which is the Paramatma, which is Bharta, which is Bhokta, which is Anumanta, we saw all those words, that Chaitanyam is the permitter, Anumanta, and which is Ishvara, Paramatma, and which is Bharta, the one who sustains, and Bhokta. Bhokta means the ultimate enjoyer. The ultimate enjoyer, ultimate seer, this is who I am. And that, another word for Kshetrajnaha we saw was Purushaha. Puri Shete iti Purushaha. The one who is indwelling in this body city or body temple, you can call it. Then how can we know that Kshetrajnaha? Krishna said, that is Neyam Brahma. It is to be known. But how? As the Sakshi Trik. As the witness of all the Kshetrams, Sthula Kshetram, body, Sukshma Kshetram, mind, and all their modifications and vikaras that are happening. Can you be the Sakshi of all of it? Then you know me, Krishna has said. So then Krishna went on to define also the second aspect, the second principle of Prakriti. And there we saw that shloka, Karya Karana Kartritve Hetuhu Prakritihi Uchyati. So what is this Prakriti? Prakriti is the principle which is the cause for Karya, Karana and Kartritvam. And that is none other than the cosmic power and Shakti of Param Brahma. That is why we say Shiva is endowed with Shakti. And together with Shakti, what does Shiva do? Shiva empowers and impregnates the womb of nature. That is Prakriti Ma. And then what is born is this entire vast, limitless Jagat Kshetram. So that Prakriti is the power. And this is what we call as the dance of Nataraja, the cosmic dance of Nataraja. And what is this dance? That the whole Jagat is going through eternal cycles of Srishti, Sthiti and Laya. So this is why we say Ishvara, that is Parvati Parameshwarau Aham Vande, Jagatah Pitarau. That is Parvati and Parameshwara, or Prakriti and Ishvara are the twofold cause and the parents of this entire Jagat. Kalidasa very beautifully salutes before beginning to write his work, Raghuvamsha. No, there is a shloka. So here also the first few shlokas of the 14th chapter, Krishna talks about how he is the Bija Pradaha. Bija Pradaha means the one who is giving the seed. And he says, my Shakti, Mahatyonihi, the womb is the grand womb of nature, is my Shakti, and who will give birth to this vast universe. So, this is the twofold cause of this Jagat. Now, then Krishna said in the end of chapter 13 that the one who understands both the principles, that is the silent, actionless Atma Brahma, yeah, and the one who has understood the dynamic Shakti, the power that invigorates everything, that causes change, eternal cycles of change, such a one is a Buddhiman, is a Kritakritya, is a fulfilled devotee, is the wise person. Now, this chapter is kind of an extension of chapter 13, but it's a very practical and very relatable chapter, and it focuses entirely on only one of the 6 topics covered in the previous chapter. And what is that? Prakriti. And Prakriti is what we already know as the Maya Shakti. And Maya has got an adjective, Trigunatmika Maya Shakti. So this chapter is going to analyze very systematically in great detail about how does this Maya Shakti bring about this variety and multiplicity in the Jagat. When Parameshwara and Parvati or Paramatma and his Shakti are the same cause for the Jagat, how come there is variety? Some are contemplative, some are dull and inactive, and some are ambitious and very goal oriented. We see no two entities are the same. That is the reason is Trigunaatmika Maya. So the Maya brings about the permutations and combinations, and the dynamic interplay of the 3 gunas of Prakriti brings about the various embodiments and the varied pursuits and the diversity that we see in the Jagat. So this chapter is called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga chapter. That is, the Prakriti is has got 3 modes. Yeah, the 3 modes are the 3 constituents. Now, the word guna we are familiar with. The Rudi popular meaning is quality, but that's not the meaning we are going to take here. Guna also means a rope, rajjuhu. Yeah, but here the meaning of guna is the constituent or mode of that Prakriti. And how this Trigunatmika Maya veils us, and how it projects a different reality, and how it's going to reveal the ultimate truth. All this is the work of Maya. So it's just like in Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, we study the 3 doshas, right? When there is Pittam, what to do, Kafam and Vata. Like that, when we understand and gain knowledge about the 3 gunas, how they manifest in our kshetrams, and how they change the mind, how our perception and attitude changes, and how they bind us like a rope, and how to be free from the gunas, no? Then we can also have the key to be free from the grip and spell of the gunas. So this is what the chapter is going to be about. Now look at the verse number 5. First of all, Krishna defines the 3 gunas and says, Sattvam rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha nibatnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. So nobody in this vast creation is free from the gunas, yeah, because the Jagat is a karyam, is an effect, and Trigunatmika Maya is the Upadana Karanam. Upadana Karanam means the material cause for the Jagat. And Paramatma Ishvara is the Nimitta Karanam, intelligent cause. So obviously the material cause of the Karanam is going to pervade all the effects, Karyam Jagat. So we find all the 3 gunas will be present without exception in every bit of the universe, and it pervades all the kshetrams. So here Krishna introduces and says that these 3 gunas are Prakriti Sambhavaha. They are belonging to Prakriti, and they as though bind the Dehi. Nibatnanti Dehe Dehinam Avyayam. Then the next few shlokas, 6, 7 and 8 are defining these gunas. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakamanayam sukha sangena baddhati jnana sangena chanagha. O Anagha, Arjuna. Now, what is the sattva guna? The sattva guna is the guna of nirmalam. Nirmalam is, it is purity. Yeah, it is the quality of purity, and it is prakashakam. Prakashakam means light, that which will bring more light and more clarity and more calmness. So sattva guna, wherever there is sattva guna, then it will reveal. Yeah, it is like the light that reveals what is there. So when the sattva guna manifests, then there will be a cheerfulness in the mind. No, there will be detachment, there will be viveka, there will be balance, there will be samatvam, and one will be calm. Then the next verse, Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi. Now the quality of Rajas, the word Rajas also means dust. Yeah, dust. So if Sattva will polish my mirror-like mind and make it very clear so that it can reveal the Atma Tattvam, and I can take clear decisions and my perception will be not confused about the world. Then what about Rajas? Rajas is like a dusty mirror. Yeah, the mirror of the mind is now clouded and dusty with Rajas. And Rajas is the quality of nature which will bring in the desires and the ambitions and activity. Activity oriented is the quality of Rajas. So Ragatmakam Vidhi. And it will cause, we know when desires and ambitions manifest in the mind, then there will be Trishna. There will be a longing. So we can understand that how Rajas will create that passion in the mind and the desire and expectation, and which can lead to anxiety, tension, frustration, and disappointment. Now, one thing to be noted is Rajas is that which promotes activity. Now, there is a healthy part of Rajas. Healthy part is that which is a healthy Rajas. So when I go for an early morning jog, or I do yoga exercises, when I do my role playing, yeah, and I perform my duties, I'm a contributor to society, all that is a healthy Rajas. We need it. But when the Rajas grips us with passion and then desire, which demands fulfillment, we know the ladder of destruction from chapter 2. Then the person perishes because there is a longing. So that Rajas can cause restlessness and anxiety in the mind. So that is Ragatmika. And Karma Sangena Badhnati. It will bind the jiva how? By karma cycle, fueling that. Come on, follow these desires, fulfill these ambitions. And that is how this will bind the jiva. Then what about tamas? Tamas is ajnanajam vidhi, mohanam sarvadehinam. So tamas is the quality of prakriti which is born of ignorance. No, we have often heard of this avarana shakti of Maya. This is what it is. Tamas is that which, like a dense cloud, will cover my mind. So then there is no more viveka. The mind is closed. I don't know what is to be done, what is not to be done, what is dharma, what is adharma. So it causes confusion and delusion. And that is the work of tamas. So we can see this in this chart here. How sattva, rajas, and tamas, they have their attributes, their qualities, and how the tamas will make the mind dull. And it will cause inertia and laziness. And sattva will be a calm, contemplative mind and very revealing and conducive for Atma Vichara. Right now, we are all in the sattvic mode because we are all engaged in Shravanam on Atma Tattvam. And there may be some who may be, sleep deprived then tamas will make us sleep in the class. Then rajas is the healthy rajas. No? Healthy rajas which keeps my mind alert. But if the rajas is imbalanced, then I will become too action oriented, focused on the goals. I'm extroverted, multitasking, switching channels on the television, no, and filled with desires. Yeah? So these are the qualities of nature. Now, you would have noticed that every time only one quality dominates and the other two are in the background. So, what happens when sattva dominates? When sattva dominates, then the mind is clear and calm. And such a mind will be very cheerful. Yeah, it will be very cheerful and balanced. And when rajas dominates, then we are caught up in our goals and ambitions. Yeah, and then we want to fulfill our desires and ambitions and we get restless and anxiety. This is how it will bind us. Then tamas will bind because when the mind is dull, then it's a closed mind. And this person will feel very lazy and will be postponing everything. Oh, yeah, I will do it tomorrow and day after, and the tomorrow never comes. And there will be supreme indifference. I don't care what happens in the family. This is the way I am, and this is the way I'm going to remain. What happens to the community, what's happening in the world or around me, supremely indifferent. This is a quality, dangerous quality of tamas. And we see this in the news when people are indoctrinated in the name of religion. You know, what extent the tamas can do. We see this sadly in the world today. And rajas, those people will be climbing the corporate ladder, having less quality time for the family, and then finally stress and anxiety grips the person, and that rajas will collapse into tamas. There will be collapse of the person itself. Now the question is, how does the sattva guna bind us? All the three bind us. Krishna is saying, Nibatnanti Mahabaho. Now imagine the sattva guna. Like we are all studying the Gita and we are meditating. You know, we love the solitude. You know, Vivikta Desha Sevitvam, I have a value for that. Aratihi Jana Samsadi, on that. But then what happens? It is possible that I get attached to the happy situation. I get attached to the silence and I become so sensitive that I'm inflexible and very rigid. I want that to continue. I want everything to be always favorable, peaceful, and silent. And so any small thing can disturb me. Yeah. Or the other thing Krishna mentions is Jnana Sangena Nibatnanti. It will keep us attached to the pursuit of knowledge. Now, that's a good thing, of course. We have to do Shavanam. But here it is meant that when there is too much intellectual curiosity, you know, I will become a bookworm. I will go on studying, you know, on and on studying without really assimilating the value of what I am studying. Do I find time for japa and for meditation? And am I doing the duties as a karma yoga? So that can get neglected. Although sattva is, you know, the highway to moksha, and the other two gunas bind the jiva. But sattva has to be pursued. But at the same time, one has to have detachment. Yeah. So the tamasic mind will fall into inactivity, will be stubborn. The rajasic will be very passionate and can be dominating also. And the sattva people can become, you know, very self-centered also. Self-centered in the sense that only my pursuit matters. You know, I want moksha at any cost. And that is how the three gunas bind. So that is why Shastras describe the Sattva guna as a golden prison. Yeah, and Rajas guna is the silver prison, and Tamas is, of course, the worst. It is the iron prison. So all the three gunas of Prakriti as though bind the deity. But the Purusha, the Kshetrajna, can the Kshetrajna be bound? No. Out of ignorance, when the jiva identifies with the kshetram and gets caught up under the spell of the gunas, then there is bondage. So how will the release happen? Only by knowledge. Knowledge that I am really Nirguna Param Brahma. So the knowledge of that Nirguna Brahma, which is the actionless, silent witness of the dance of the gunas, is what is called the liberating knowledge, Paravidya. Now, you would have noticed, after a good night's sleep, in the morning I wake up, how do we feel? Most of us would say sattvic. We hear the birds chirping, and even the dogs are barking, but they don't disturb us. Yeah, and the wind is blowing, and we have not stepped into the rolls. Yeah, the moon is setting, perhaps sun is rising. How calm it is. So there is that sattvic contemplative moment early morning, and my mind perfectly aligns with that time. But after an hour or two, I need my coffee, and the coffee will bring in the rajas, or I check the notifications on the phone. Yeah, the phone will bring in the rajas in the mind. Then I'm running around chasing all the duties, getting children ready, have to go to work, cooking, the maid has come, cleaning, laundry, banking. All this, the hectic pace of rajas has come in. Then having, covered the whole day, then the rajas will collapse into tamas. Then I experience a natural fatigue. And the tamo guna of Prakriti has designed so beautifully how to revive and get a break from the rajas by sleep. So healthy tamas is there, which will induce sleep, and then I get a chance to revive and rejuvenate. But the unhealthy tamas is that indifference and the laziness, prolonged sleep, and the hangovers next morning, all because of late night into Netflix viewing. And again, all the social media is disturbing the balance of the gunas. No, I have to align myself with the circadian rhythm, the solar rhythm of the day. But now I have a totally different schedule, which is imbalancing the three gunas. So we can see that the three gunas of Prakriti pervade the entire creation, and they are there in the time, in the space, in every being. So at times we are contemplative, and then we are happy and content for no reason. And then suddenly one thought will come in, and then we get caught up in that thought. And now the mind is restless and anxious. Yeah, rajas has come in. And then I fall into sadness or grief or depression, and then that is the effect of the tamoguna. So that is why we see that in life also, when we start as a newborn baby, what is the guna prevailing? Tamas. Inactive, right? The baby sleeps for 14 hours a day, and there is total dependence, and there is tamas. But then in life we introduce a healthy rajas, school, college, university, we travel and we settle down, we become grihastas, and then we have all this parenting and role playing. All this is healthy rajas when it is done in the light of karma yoga. And then again, 50 plus as senior citizens, the sattva guna gives us a chance to do more upasanas, to do more japa, and attend classes, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, so that I can grow in sattva towards the end of the life. This is the plan of, the universe, and also the whole route is laid out in the Shastras. So everyone has to grow in the direction of sattva. How do we do that? By minimizing tamas and managing rajas. If the rajas is there, like children, they have a huge amount of rajas. We saw that in the summer camp. But how beautifully we were able to channelize the rajas into activities. We had planned a busy schedule for them down to the minute, and keeping them engaged. Gita study, do some bhajans, and Nagar Sankirtanam and all that. So that is called channelizing the rajas in meaningful activities. And then out of that will be born sattva. Then when the sattva guna manifests, I can take time to simply sit and watch the mind focus on the breath or on a Gita shloka, then I will observe the inner peace and contentment. But again, that will not last. Again, rajas will come. So the three gunas will be rotating all the time, and we have to align ourselves and adapt and adjust. That is the plan. Now, all this is possible only in a Manushya Janma. So, here, after praising this knowledge, the knowledge which is Paravidya, and defining the gunas, what is the quality of the guna, and how each guna, how does it manifest, and how do they bind? Then, after that, Krishna talks about how do we know when we are sattvic and when we are rajasic and when we are tamasic? That is also mentioned here. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upachayati. No? When you see some people who look very bright, and in their eyes you can see the shining, sattvaguna, and their faces are cheerful and they are very calm and contemplative and aspiring for the higher knowledge, then sattva is dominant. And then how do we know when rajas is dominant? We see that in the traffic, when people run into road rage, yeah, they have no patience. And then when there is greed in the mind, and there is, very stubborn obstinacy to fulfill my desires, then rajas is dominant. And when there is neglect of duty, indifference, then we know that it is pramada. So when there is tamas in the body and the mind, we can't jump to sattva. So we have to induce the healthy rajas. So rajas is like the bridge between the two. A very important bridge. And I have to shake out the lethargy by yoga or by dancing or swimming, whatever, and then come to rajas. And then rajas is, healthy rajas is when I can contribute to society, to the family, performing my duties. And then finally, sattva guna is by all these activities, yajna, danam, tapas, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasana, meditations, all that will increase the sattva guna. And that is why Krishna had said to Arjuna way back in chapter 2, no? What did he say? Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunyo Bhava Arjuna, and also Nitya Sattvastaha. So Krishna has said to Arjuna in chapter 2, Arjuna, the Vedas, they are full of, their topic is the three gunas, no? So how can a rajasic person get the fulfill his ambitions, and what will the tamasic person do? Traigunya Vishya Veda. But Arjuna, you be a Nistraigunya. Nistraigunya means you be free from the three gunas, and you be a Nirdvantvaha and Nitya Sattvastaha. Niryogakshema Atmavan. So this shows that definitely we have to pursue the Sattva Guna. Now in the later chapters 16, 17 and 18, Krishna is going to systematically discuss the various aspects of our life. What should the mode of worship we should have, which gods to worship, what kind of ahara I should have, food, and what kind of karma I should do, the buddhi. So each and every aspect, I think 12 or 13 aspects are going to be classified in a threefold way. What is sattvika buddhi, rajasika buddhi, tamasika buddhi, and so on. That is all going to come. So that's why very practical chapters on how we can enhance the sattva guna and minimize the tamas and maximize the rajas. No? Paramarthananda ji will say, one sure way to increase tamas is not to miss any of our classes. Seriously. Swamiji said, can you have that commitment and dedication to attend these classes, no matter what, then definitely the sattva guna will gradually, the barometer will show the increase in the sattva guna. But if we, out of some reason, valid reasons, of course, we miss, then again rajas creeps in, tamas creeps in, and then, we have to struggle to bring back the sattva. So that balance will be there when there is punctuality, when there is consistency and systematic shravana. And the same thing applies for other things we do at home. If we have a fixed time and place for japam and for meditation and karma yoga, all this is going to enhance the sattva guna. But now Krishna is telling Arjuna that that is not the goal, to become a sattva guna pradhana person. What is the goal? To be nistraigunyaha, is to be a gunatitaha, is to be free from the spell of the gunas. And so, here, next Krishna, and why should we do that? Krishna discusses here in this chapter that how do the gunas impact our future lives? And that is also mentioned in this chapter here. ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः. Now those who have a sattvic bent of mind at the antakala, can we have a sattvic peaceful state of mind at the last moment of transition and departure from this life? Yes, we have read about it. And Krishna himself said, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. The one who has done Ishvara Smaranam and devoted to Ishvara the whole life will definitely have Ishvara Smaranam at the Antakala. So what happens to the Jiva who has this predominant sattva at the end of the life, but who has not gained moksha? And here in shloka number 18, Krishna says, Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha. They will go by the Shuklagati, the bright paths, to the higher lokas. Higher lokas means Svarga lokas, because of the punyam. Or they may be even born in families who are yogis, pure-minded parents they will be born to. And so they will have a head start in that family and pick up the thread. Then what about those who have predominant rajas at the end of the life? That is, the whole life they were chasing desires and ambitions, and even at the end of the life, they are not able to detach and time is up. So such people, there will be a struggle. One can see that also. Struggle because now the mind wants to withdraw from the body. So for sattvic people, it will be a peaceful departure. But for Rajas, the mind is not able to leave the body and transition to the future wherever it has to go. And that's because of that attachment. The attachment to the unfulfilled desires and ambitions. Then what is their lot? What is their fate? Krishna says, Madhye Tishtanti Rajasaha. They will stay in the middle. So what is the middle loka? Bhuloka. Because the earth planet and the human embodiment are called karma kshetram. They are the only embodiment where one is qualified to do karma. So those who have unfulfilled desires, then the jiva will take the birth back in the human plane of action and to families who are attached to action. So they will continue, with the Rajasic mode in the next Janma also. So they come back and they are engaged in the cycle of karma. Okay. Now, what about the tamas? The last one, Jaghanya Guna Vrittistaha Adho Gachanti Tamasaha. Like, we see all these social offenders, and it takes years in court to punish them. But maybe before the judgment is delivered, their Antakala has come. So what happens to them? Those who have tamasic bent of mind at the end, at the Antakala, Adho Gachanti Jaghanya Guna Vrittistaha. They will meet with a very cruel fate, and that is to be born in the lower embodiments of pain, dukkha yonayaha. And what are they? Animals, snakes, they'll be born as snakes and maybe caterpillars, who knows. Why are they papa yonis? Because we know animals cannot communicate. They are hunted for their skin and fur and tusk. Yeah. And all they have to do is they can only exhaust the papa karmas and then wait for the next janma. And only in the human janma is one qualified to perform punya karmas, pursue dharma, and gain the punya to go to higher lokas, or by Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, gain moksha and get the liberation. So we can understand how these gunas have such a strong impact on our present life, day-to-day living, and also the future life. Yeah. How the tamas dilutes the mind, and rajas agitates the mind, and sattva clears the mind. But then I want to be free from all the three, because even the sattva guna may take me to a pure swargaloka, but then shine punye punarapi martyaloka mishanti. So that is not the goal, and I will have to return and understand that I am the knower of the gunas. I am the witness of the dynamic dance of the gunas in the bodies, and that can only happen by knowledge. Jnanameva mokshaha. So, then after that, Krishna, we have two important shlokas, 19 and 20. Yeah? And here, Krishna says, Nanyang gunebhya kartaram yada drashtaru pashyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam sodhi gacchati. Na anyang gunebhya kartaram yada drashta anupashyati. So the wise person is the one who has understood that who is the karta? Gunas. Gunaha guneshu vartante. We have seen those shlokas also. Prakriteva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha. That is, the gunas are in all of us. In what form? As one svabhava. No? You see children of the same family. The three children, one of them could be very contemplative, peacefully playing with his toys, and the other one can be very destructive, destroying everything in the house. And the third one can be, a bit very plump and a bit lazy also. So this shows that we all enjoy a svabhava, an innate svabhava called guna composition. But luckily, the guna composition can be upgraded. We can fine-tune the mind and change the guna composition to maximize sattva and to minimize tamas and manage the rajas. So here, 19th shloka, Krishna says that the one who has understood that it is the gunas which impact the mind, and the mind performs karma, and the karma has karma phalam, and then karma phalam lands me in janma in various lokas, and this is how it goes round and round. Na anyam gunebhyah karta. So there is no karta other than the gunas. Then who am I? Gunebhyah cha param veti. So the one who has understood that I am the witness of the gunas, I am kshetrajnaha, I am the purushaha. The purushaha will not be entangled in the guna net, but he will enjoy the dance and dance of the gunas. No? Okay, now tamas has come, it's time to sleep. Let me take a break. Yeah. Rajas is there. When rajas is there in the mind, what will the wise person do? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. He will detect that rajas in the mind and say, I don't have to fulfill this desire. It does not have to be binding. So I will just stay as a witness. And that wave-like desire will just subside back into the lake of the mind. And then sattva, if there's a sattvic desire by which the wise can uphold dharma and do loka sangraha, why not? So the sattvic people will go ahead because there is no personal agenda. And that is how Sri Krishna, Vyasacharya, Shankaracharya all lived. They wrote commentaries, they traveled the world, they upheld dharma, they shared their knowledge, not for any personal interest, but for the welfare of the world. So such wise people, madbhavam saha adhigacchati, Krishna says, that is, they come to me. They come to me, they attain my nature. Then the 20th shloka, Gunan etan atitya trin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkaihi vimuktaha amritam ashnute. So this is the Palishruti, the one who has gone beyond the three gunas. One who has gone beyond the three gunas is the one who is free from the gunas. Yeah, and who knows that the gunas are acting in the kshetram, but I am really kshetrajnaha. And such a jnani will be what? Janma mrityu jara dukkaihi vimuktaha. Free from the dukkham, the sorrow of janma, mrityu, and jara, aging, and vyadhi, and all that. We see the moment one is born, yeah, then the trouble starts. Yeah, then the body will be subject to shadvikaras and change, and then there'll be vyadhi, then aging process sets in, then decline happens, then there is loneliness, faculties fail. All this dukkha will go when one has, understood that as the dehi, I am free. I'm never bound. I am never going to come under the spell of the gunas. But that means one would have such a great mastery over the mind and the body to just be a witness of the dance of the gunas. And there ends the Sri Krishna's Upadesha. Then we have an Arjuna Uvacha in 21st shloka. Now Arjuna is curious to know about this Gunatitaha Jnani who has transcended the gunas, and says, Thailingai Srin Gunanetan Atito Bhavati Prabho Kimachara Katam Chaitan Trin Gunanati Vartate. So it says, Krishna, who is this Gunatitaha? Kim Acharaha Katam Cha Etan Trin Gunanati Vartate. How did he go beyond the gunas? We are all born into the net of gunas at birth, and the gunas sustain our whole life. Then how can one be free of the gunas? What would be the conduct of such a jnani? Now, can you relate to the question in chapter 2? Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha kimasita vrajeta kim. So the last 18 shlokas of chapter 2, we saw Arjuna asking a similar question. Who is the Sthita prajnaha? How does he sit and walk and talk and eat? Here also, Arjuna is saying, who is a Gunatitaha? How would he conduct himself? And then the last shlokas of this chapter is Bhagavan Uvacha, response of Krishna, and who beautifully explains. And this is the same response given at the end of chapter 12. Who is a Jnani Bhaktaha? Similar description. Who is a Sthita Prajnaha? Similar description. And who is a Jnani of chapter 13? Similar description. So, let us see the shloka. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava nadveshti sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshati. So this jnani has attained freedom from gunas. Yeah, prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava, and says that when the gunas are present, sampravrittani, this jnani does not despise them. And na nivrittani, and when they are absent, the jnani will not long for them. Now, what does that mean? That means that when any guna is active, this jnani has the mental strength to watch them as they manifest. So when the tamo guna comes for some reason, then the jnani is not going to despise and judge himself and say, I'm feeling so bored and I'm feeling tired and sleepy. Might take a break, or do something to change that guna situation. And when there is a happy situation, favorable situation, and the mind is calm and content, of course, the jnani will welcome it, but he will also know that it's going to change. Yeah, the next situation can bring some disturbing news. Today, whenever we switch on the television or the mobile, full of shocking breaking news. But the jnani is so anchored and rooted in sattva that whether it is an inner situation of pain or fatigue or happiness or external situation of favorable or unfavorable, his mind will always be steady. Sukham, dukkham will come in the mind, but the jnani will not become sukhi or dukhi. That is, he will not let it affect him. Look at the great amount of mental mastery one should have for that. Yeah, and that comes from knowledge. That is why Krishna said in the beginning, Panditaha na anushocanti. So for the jnani, this is like a divine drama, whether it is my personal life drama, stages in the life, or it is the universal drama played out in the canvas of space and time in the Jagat. So there is a beautiful analogy in the Panchadashi, another text by Vidyaranya Muni, where there is an analogy of a Nataka Deepaha, the theatre lamp. So imagine a theatre or an auditorium, and initially there is a light lighting it up. Hall is empty, stage is empty. The theatre or the play has not begun. What does the light do? Illumines. Then slowly the audience fills up the auditorium and the curtain is drawn, the actors come and they play their roles and they sing or dance or whatever. The theatre lamp is on. And then the curtain is drawn, the actors bow and leave, and audience also leaves, the theatre lamp is on. So the jnani is like the theatre lamp, remaining as a steady, eternal witness. And the word here used is udasinavat. Udasinavat means uninvolved witness of the drama. Now, of course, the jnanis will support dharma all the time and be anti-dharma. But they will not take sides. They will not question why it happened or be agitated and perturbed. Gunaihi yaha na vichalyate. They will not fall a victim to the spell of the gunas. But they continue to be active, compassionate contributors. I can do what I can do to serve the community or my family or the world, but the world is not going to be a sukha hetu or a dukkha hetu. The world cannot, I don't give the world the power to disturb me or even to make me happy. So I'm not going to be happy because of a certain event or a reason or a situation. Because I'm the nature of fullness. Yeah? I derive the happiness from myself and I will not get perturbed and agitated about anything. Now, the jnanis will, of course, get upset. When that Mumbai terrorism act happened, I was with Puja Swamiji. Swamiji was visibly disturbed. And he explained how they had these AK-14 guns, 47, yeah, AK-47 guns, and expressed great sadness and, so the visible surface reactions will be there. But at the core, because of the knowledge that I'm like the theatre lamp, I'm udasinavat, uninvolved witness. So there will be no questioning. Why did you do this, Bhagavan? Why should this happen? This is adharma. No. There is no asking why, but there is a gracious compassion is there. There is compassion and acceptance, and then FIR reducing. One will return to the base camp, the inner stability soon. This we see in the jnanis a lot. So they're not statues, statues or like robots without any feeling. No, they will share the dukkham and the sukham also on the surface, but they know that my sukham or dukkham is not dependent on anyone or anything. Yeah, I'm Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. So we see that life will have all these stage plays, no? Roles change, situations change, yeah? But if I learn to remain as a changeless, invariable constant, yeah, then there is stability, samatvam, and peace and happiness in my life. And that is who a Sitaprajnaha is. That is who a Gunatitaha is. Then you see the last few shlokas, Samadukha Sukha Swastaha, Samaloshtasma Kanchanaha. Samaloshtasma Kanchana means if there is a clod of earth and if there is gold and there is stone, what will we pick? We may have more value for gold, right? And less value for mud or stone. For a builder, stone is more valuable. He can build, a house. Yeah. For a farmer, mud may be more important. But for this jnani, all same. Sameness of response. He does not have an enhanced value for gold, nor, a diminished value for other things. Samaloshtasma kanchanaha. And he is tulya. Tulya is stable-minded when in a priyam situation, apriyam situation, Ninda, stuti, praise and blame, sukham and dukham. He welcomes both, but he does not try to prolong the sukham nor get rid of dukham because they are waves manifesting from my own prarabdha and there is a gracious acceptance. So you see how the knowledge of the gunas helps us to fine-tune our mind and strengthen the mind with sattva. Only when sattva balam is there can I remain as an unaffected, uninvolved witness. But at the same time, be a contributor, an active contributor and well-wisher of the whole world. So this can only happen when I clearly perceive the distinction between kshetram and kshetrajna. Am I attached to the surface namarupas? Or am I able to see the essence of every Namarupa as Kshetrajna? Yeah. So when we are attached to Namarupa appearances, then there will be Raga Dvesha based Vyavahara. Then Rajas will be there and Tamas will be there. But when I train and develop the Jnana Chakshuhu, I will be able to perceive the essence of everything as that Asti Bhati Priyam, as that Niyam Brahma, as the Kshetrajna. And this is the Uttamam Jnanam, Krishna says, and this is the liberating knowledge. So, we see that in this chapter, we have seen how systematically, Krishna has dealt with all these topics. I'll share the slide later. What is the definition of every guna, sattva, rajas, and tamas? Then how do they bind? Each one of them binds in a unique way. And what is the sign? How do I know when which guna is manifest? Then what is the consequence, phalam, in this life? And what is the gati? What is going to be the travel after this life? So this is the important knowledge of the gunas that this chapter gives here. But the wise person has understood that gunaha guneshu vartante. Now we saw earlier one shloka in the Gita also. Pashyan, Shinvan, Spishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Shvapan, Shvasan, Pralapan, Visrijan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi, Gunaha Guneshu Vartante. So the Tattvavit, the wise knower, knows that nobody can be free from action. Yeah? We cannot stay still even for a moment. Involuntary actions happen, voluntary actions happen. I have to get up and, cook food, and then I have to digest and eat it. Then I need to rest, give the body the rest. So nobody can remain inactive. But where is the action happening? Prakriti-eva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha. It is in the kshetram. And who is causing the kshetram to move and change? Prakriti. And Prakriti is Trigunatmika Shakti. Yeah? So then I have to fine-tune my mind to understand this. Fine-tune my mind so that I can understand how the three gunas operate and how they bind and how I can be free from the gunas. So this is the root in the Vedas also. Yeah? Initially, as one is born into samsara, that is, we are not born with Atmavidya. Right? So then slowly the tamas and the rajas have to be addressed. And then when we come to the sattva guna, through the Shastra Shravanam and Mananam, then we gain this knowledge, the liberating knowledge that I am the witness of the gunas. I am Kshetrajnaha. And the gunas keep the body and mind kshetrams active. So then by purifying my lifestyle through karma yoga and then purifying everything around me in my life, then I will grow in that sattva direction. And then only then I will aspire to become a gunatita and then become a gunatita. So this chapter is more just an introduction of the guna topic. But the later chapters, we will see in great detail how Krishna is going to explain how to change our lifestyle, mode of worship, ahara, and our thinking, our karmas, no, very systematically, so that we become free from the spell of the gunas. And in the end, the last two shlokas of this chapter, Krishna says, Mam chayaha avyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate saha gunans samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. How to be free from the gunas? Krishna says, the one who worships me with exclusive, undivided, nishkama bhakti, avyavicharani bhakti, will definitely become a gunatita. We can see how, our svabhava, our personality has a certain guna composition. So then in the mind, certain thoughts will come. Then the thoughts will translate to words and actions, karma. Then karma will bear fruit. And the fruit will give me janma in a certain loka. And the cycle continues. But with nishkama bhakti, when I have more Ishvara Smaranam, Ishvara Sevanam, then the mind turns towards the source. I slow down the cycle of karma, and then finally, with this liberating knowledge, the cycle of karma comes to a complete halt. And that is moksha. Oh, swasti prajabhyah paripalayanta न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ